Stop beating yourself up. We're all perfectly imperfect human beings. We all are flawed, but leave that crap behind you in the past where it belongs. Stop beating yourself up. It's not going to do any good. And you had a hand to play in it for sure, but most of it you've been lied to. You've been fed a line of garbage, and it's an incredibly complex and nuanced issue that's out there because there's so much bad information and it's been so politicized. So don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up. You got to change your mind there. And then you got to start today. Don't say, I'm going to start a week from now. I need to go have, my 5 favorite fast food places or restaurants, go eat at it before I do this, because it'll be the last time. Like, that's always going to be there. Just absolutely drop it. Start today. And then don't think that, don't have it in your head that this is going to be done, but tomorrow or next week or 8 months from now or whatever. Just enjoy feeling better and get healthier every day. It's a new way of life. So just enjoy all the health benefits that come from it and all the, just feeling good, getting stronger that come every day with it. And then just know that one big thing that I realized that really changed a lot for me was I used to think that I was avoiding the hard things and the struggle by not choosing to be disciplined about what I ate. And now I realize that when I was eating bad in that 1 hour window of time every day, I was actually choosing to struggle the other 23 hours out of the day. I was actually making my life worse, my situation worse every time. So we tend to think that we're going to avoid the struggle, but we're actually choosing the way bigger struggle by eating bad. And don't listen to anybody tell you that this is not sustainable. Don't listen to anybody tell you that this is just a gimmick diet. Just latch onto it. Don't pour yourself into it. Get into the keto community so you understand what it's really about. And then just keep your conscious mind on it every day and just be active into it every day. And that'll keep you accountable. It'll keep you on track.
Hello, fellow carnivore enthusiasts. I'm Adam with Carnivore Today, and in this video, we sit down with Todd Bockness from the Carnivore Cure YouTube channel. Todd stumbled into the carnivore diet in a very unique way. Listen as he reveals how he launched his way into a lifestyle that has literally transformed him. Before we dive in, please take a moment to subscribe and enable notifications so you're always in the loop with our future videos. Now let's get started. All right, today we're with Todd Bockness of the Carnivore Cure. So, Todd, can you start off by telling us a little bit about you, maybe your age and where you're from and things like that? And then we'll jump into the carnivore diet talk.
Yeah, I'm 40 years old and just turned 40 last May here in Bozeman, Montana. Montana boy all my life. Yeah, and just I work construction. Now I'm in the office, but I've been doing the same job for 22 years now. And pretty much it. It's
Nice.
that.
So, what do you do in the construction job?
Now I do all of our electrical engineering and designs, and I do all of our bidding and project estimating, project management, material ordering, those sort of things.
Nice. That sounds interesting and maybe a little bit diverse too.
Yeah, for sure. I did. I ended up learning, it's a family business, and my dad was a master electrician, and he taught us all the trade, and then we grew through the business. My brother owns the company, and it got pretty large actually, and we do quite a bit of work. And so we swapped positions. I was in the field, my brother was in the office, and I caught him printing out Excel documents and putting white out on them and filling them out with a pen. And so I told him, we gotta do something.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, but
Right.
I was watching him print out invoices and then put it back in the fax machine. All right. We got to stop this.
Gotta lend a helping hand here.
Yeah, he's 11 years older than me, so he didn't really grow up in the technology age, so he did everything old school, and I was more techy than him. He didn't even have an email back then. So,
Right, right.
yeah,
Yeah,
so,
that's awesome.
yeah, we switched roles, and now I do all the office stuff. And he's great in the field, so it works out well.
Sweet. Yeah, that's cool. So I hear that you are a carnivore. Where did you first hear about the carnivore diet?
It's kind of funny. I didn't know anything about. Yeah, I've heard low carb diets, but I didn't know anything about keto, carnivore, lion, snake. None of that. I had no clue. I was always. I've been a big guy my whole life. When I was 14 years old, I weighed 600 pounds. And I built a frame for it because I was big, young. And I always worked construction in the field. I did that for 14 years, carrying around that weight. So I built a frame for it, but it wears on the end. I was always going to the doctors and dietitians and stuff, and they're just putting me on the standard American diet, calories in, calories out, nonsense. And, it boggles my mind now that I'm down, over 225 pounds. Back then they were like, no, you're doing what's right. You're doing what's right. They were more than willing to operate on me. They've been on me for 2 decades to, get gastric bypass surgery. Right. And I'm a Christian, and I was just like, God don't make mistakes. You meant that to be right where it's at, and I ain't cutting it out. And, now I lose over 225 pounds, and they're like, we're worried about your diet.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah,
classic.
yeah, it's just like, you know what? It's just, I don't know. I think doctors are an absolute blessing when it comes to trauma. It's amazing what we can do, healing bones, changing organs out if you need it or whatever. But yeah, it's an absolute joke when it comes to disease and metabolic disease and health. It's just, they're not, I wouldn't trust them with my dog for preventative disease. So it's just kind of silly. And I feel bad for them, right? Because they're great people. They've just been indoctrinated by medical school, the system, they're great people. They want to help. But man, they're almost, brainwashed in a way. It's crazy. You can't just back up and see the truth in front of you and go, that's why I love Dr. Ken Berry, he, he's seen the writing on the wall.
Yeah, for sure. So how did you first hear about the carnivore diet?
I found it by accident. So I actually got into ketosis by accident. And I was like, why do I feel so good? And I actually started researching what I was eating. I kind of hit on it the other day when I was on Carrie's live stream with you, but I had a real bad lung problem starting since the time I was 18, and they couldn't figure out what it was, but they wouldn't call them asthma attacks, but I started having some kind of attack where my lungs would close off, and really, man, from the time I was 18 till just a few years back now, I was in the hospital multiple times. I had pneumonia, bronchitis every year. My lungs were just a constant source of problems. And the last time I was in the ICU I was in there for 4 days, because they required 12 liters of oxygen just to get me back into like 90% oxygen saturation. And when I got out of there, it's like, all right, I've got to do something. And I mean, this was 7 years ago, 6 years ago. But I just stopped drinking calories. I stopped drinking soda, and I still like to drink diet soda because I'm so hopefully addicted to it. That made my lungs a little better. That spawned into, uh, and at the time I didn't know what direction to go. What the doctors were doing wasn't working. So my brother at the time was doing kind of a weightlifter's diet. He was reading Frank Zane's old books, and he liked his physique. So he was like, why don't you do a high protein, low fat, moderate carbohydrate diet? So I'd been doing that for 14 months. And after 14 months of absolute misery, I've never been more miserable in my life than I was on that. And now I know why. I wasn't making any energy out of fat, and I was starving. I was eating just enough carbohydrates to keep me from going into ketosis, but not enough to have any energy ever. And my hormones were all screwed up. So, I mean, I was suicidally miserable. And I'm not even joking when I say that. For 14 months, I had, it was just so terrible. The depression was terrible. The anxiety was just absolutely miserable. After 14 months, I was like, I have got to do something or I'm not going to be able to keep this up. I can't stay on the wagon. So that was when I was like, why? All right, all my chicken is so dry. I was basically eating chicken. I was like, I got to make this chicken taste better. Something. I need something to keep me going. And so I started looking up how you cook meat better and not dry it out. And that's when I found that channel, Sous-Vide Everything. And so
Right.
I ordered sous vide machine and I've been watching, Guga make all these amazing, ribeyes seared in butter and all these meats. And I was just sitting there starving. So I was just drooling about this meat. And when my sous vide machine showed up, I was like, before I go back to chicken for eternity, I'm going to get one ribeye and try what Guga did. And, I was saying, it was funny because I was lying to myself because I bought a pack of 4 ribeyes. So, uh, but I'd reasoned it out because before I was usually eating low fat turkey, breakfast sausage with egg whites in the morning. And then at night I was eating chicken breast and broccoli and brown rice. And it was just miserable. It's just tasteless, miserable garbage.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, it was horrible for 14 months. And so when I got that, I was like, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm just not going to eat any of the other stuff. And I'm just going to have this ribeye and I'm going to cut out the other meal. And it fed into my calories because back then, calories were gone, you know? And so I was like, at least I can keep it in the calories. I'm going to have one ribeye a day, seared in butter, and that's it. And man, that thing was amazing. And it was crazy. I thought it was just a mental thing because when I ate that ribeye about 2 hours later, like my mood was better. Like my brain fog had lifted. I just felt
Wow.
way better in one ribeye, and I thought, well, this is just a mental thing. I'm just happy to not be in dry chicken hell right now. And so I was like, well, if I could do this just for these other 3 ribeyes, I'm going to do it for 4 days. And in that 4 days, I lost something like 16 pounds. And obviously it was fluid, but I felt better. I had energy. I was happy. And I was like, what's going on? I'm eating everything I'm not supposed to be eating. And I thought I was cheating and I feel amazing. And I have gotten I've lost half amount as much weight in 4 days that I did in the other, 14 months. Right. I was
Wow.
like, what is going on here? I just feel really, really good. So I just Googled, I'm eating ribeyes and butter and I feel great. What's going on? And it brought up keto. And I was like, what is this? You know? And so that's how I got into keto. And then I had, you know, unfortunately, I was dumb enough that I started going down the keto trail. And then I went into all this liberal nonsense keto with all the truffles and the pizzas and the keto pastas and all the nonsense. And then it was effective enough that I felt better and I wasn't getting worse and I was getting slightly healthier.
Mhm.
But the carb cravings were still there all the time. Like I was fighting them nonstop. And, the keto community is, oh, you can have, monk fruit and xylitol. And so I was drinking these drinks and little did I know I was, just keeping the old carb cravings alive. And I was still completely torching my gut microbiome.
Right.
And it wasn't but I strung along with that for a few years. And then that took me to Dr. Jason Fung's book on, the diabetes code book.
Hmm.
And, that really rang very true to me. And I realized that insulin resistance was definitely the problem. In fact, because of his book, I diagnosed myself with low testosterone, which this is when I was done with doctors. I mean, I've been seeing doctors for 20 years and not one of them ever thought to check my testosterone. I go get it checked and it's like so low, it's ridiculous.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, why, how did that, slip they want it. This guy's sitting here working every angle he can figure out how to pushed me to get gastric bypass, and he never even thinks to check my hormones. It's just, I was just so mad. And then when that happened, he talks about basically the fasted insulin set point, which kind of regulates your overall body mass, and you got to get your fasted insulin down, and you do that mostly by keeping as low as possible, long as possible, and intermittent fasting really helps. And I just before that I started doing OMAD, and that was helping. But I decided to get drastic as I do. I have a kind of a personality like that I kind of go all out on things. And so I decided to do a 40-day water fast. And so I made it to
Wow.
I went for it, and I made it to day 21, but I wasn't taking any potassium or any electrolytes. And my potassium got crazy low. And I just was feeling something was off all of a sudden. But it hit me again in the lungs. I couldn't breathe. I started having crazy asthma attacks. My oxygen saturation crashed. And as it turned out, that if your potassium gets real low, it does something to your blood plasma. So your red blood cell platelets don't populate or whatever. So it drops your red blood cells, and then your blood carry oxygen. So I was having a serious red blood cell problem. And then when that happened, had to go back, started getting protein or potassium and everything to get my blood cells back. But my immune system was shot, and that was in October of 2021. And I caught COVID, right? And that screwed up everything because I got it real, real bad. And it took out my lungs, damaged my heart. And I was just having serious problems. And I already I didn't trust doctors anyways, but I really didn't trust them, not to get political, but with the COVID protocols at the time. And my buddy Ryan had caught COVID. He was 38 at the same time. I was 38 at the same time, same age as me, way healthier. And he had caught COVID 1 week before I did. And I was kind of keeping touch bases with him. And he just went into the hospital, and they gave him that Landestimate or whatever, and it waterlogged his lungs, and they put him on a respirator, and he died right there.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. And so I was just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going into the hospital, And so there it was. Time I was about 650 pounds, and I had terrible pneumonia. I had a fever, like 102, 103 for 13 days. My lungs were just gone. I had to lay on my bed and hang my head off my bed and cough this stuff out. My sister had been reading up about it. She got me ivermectin, and she put me on a protocol of ivermectin and some nebulizers to treat my lungs. And I was taking a bunch of supplements and stuff, and eventually pulled through it. Thank God.
Yeah,
A lot of prayer. Yeah. But after that, I had a real problem with fluid. I watched the scale go up. Like it's like 84 pounds or something in 3 weeks of just fluid. I ballooned up. I was just so swollen, and my legs were huge, and it was painful. And I was just full of fluid, and my lungs were shut down. And I fought it, trying to get the fluid off of my own for 5 months, 6 months, somewhere in there. And then I was sleeping in a chair. I couldn't walk. I couldn't stand up. I couldn't move. And I was sleeping in a chair, and I think I had sleep apnea, but I think it really started hitting me hard when my lungs were compromised. And so I'd wake up and I'd have these terrible headaches, and I'd be confused. I didn't know where I was. I'd check box like the low 80s, I'd say high 70s. And so I realized I was stopping breathing at night. And so I was trying to do everything I could, but it was just like my metabolism, nothing was working. I was just so sick. I was on the edge, that's for sure. And finally one night, I just woke up, and I had the worst headache. And usually the headaches would go away in 10 minutes, and I'd sit there and breathe heavy. And couldn't get it to work out. But this time something was wrong with it. I was having a hard time recalling words, uh, just super confused. I didn't know where it was. And things were way off. And I checked my oxygen and it was down to 61% saturation. And so I got something bad should happen there, obviously. So I had to go into the hospital and they put me on Lasix and pulled a bunch of fluid off me, pulled like 60 pounds of fluid off me. And I was in there for 11 days.
Wow.
And then, but that was a blessing because when I got out, they put me on oxygen. And so the oxygen started turning stuff around. And then I didn't want to go back. The sleep study was like 2 months out for me to get scheduled for a sleep study. And it was very expensive and all these things. But my dad had CPAP. He had sleep apnea. So, in fact, the VA had just sent him a new one, even though he had passed away. They had sent him a new one because his was time for, it had expired or whatever. So I took his CPAP and I looked up online how to program it for roughly where I thought I'd need to be. And I started using it. And that really helped a lot too. It changed a lot because then I could sleep. And then I finally I was, I don't know, I was off keto and carnivore for sure during that time, but I wasn't on much of anything. I just felt terrible. And I just couldn't move. And I was just ordering whatever I thought was healthy salads and, Mexican food, whatever I could get from DoorDash because I couldn't do anything. Man, yeah, I just ballooned up. My chairs were breaking. My bed was breaking. I was so big. I really don't know. I went from when I started again from my heaviest because the scale wouldn't pick me up anymore. The ones that I had at home being like, I couldn't get on the scale. My legs had swollen up so big. Each calf was 35 inches. And so my legs were like 3 feet apart. And so I couldn't put 2 feet on a scale. I had a scale that go to 770 pounds, but I couldn't get on it. It wasn't wide enough for both my feet to get on it. And so I went back on keto, but it was really kind of like ketovore at the time because it was basically carnivore, but with cruciferous things, and whole oil. And I was making taco salads. That's all it was. I had to order some stuff because all of a sudden I had to make my environment to be right around me because I couldn't move. So I got some of these Ninja cookers and I got a mini fridge that could be right around so that I could cook for myself every day and do keto again. Because trying to get to the kitchen, I could only stand up for 90 seconds and then my oxygen would tank and I'd start blacking out. And so I just had to do something in my general area there. And I started with keto. That was September 29th of 2022. And I started doing keto. And then I just realized I was measuring ketones back then, picking your finger and measuring the ketones. And I couldn't ever get up to even, I was like always 0.08 ketones, So I'm like, something's wrong. I have plenty of stored fuel here to be working off of. This thing should be off the Richter scale, Mm-hmm. So then I just started cutting out the dairy. And I got rid of the cheese. I got rid of the sour cream. Then I started looking at the seasoning that I was using on the taco meat, got rid of that. And then I just started eliminating things. I was like, you know what? I'm basically carnivore except for the lettuce, and I don't really like lettuce.
Right.
So,
I'm with you.
yeah, so I just chucked it, and I just went carnivore. And then I just started cleaning that up too. I started taking away like black pepper. I'm not advocating for anybody to do it. I was in a dire spot. So I was just trying to make it as efficient as possible to help as quick as possible, So so basically I got to the BBB&E thing. all I eat now is bacon, eggs, beef broth, and pink salt. And I also eat a can of cod flavors every day for the omega-3s, but that's my whole diet.
Nice.
But when I kind of in that transition from keto to carnivore there, And I was full carnivore, basically the BBVE on January 1st. I made that start date.
Mhm.
But on the way to that, I was still craving, I was so addicted to soda and sugar and drinks that, I mean, honestly, I had the ability to eat a lot, but I always knew that I was fighting an uphill battle there. So I just didn't, but it was always the drinks that got me. I would drink tons of soda, energy drinks and iced lattes. It was all my calories came from liquid, you know, and I was having a terrible time kicking the soda. And so I love Dr. Berg here on YouTube. I watch his stuff and I use a lot of the supplements now. But he talked about making a drink out of volcanic lemon juice and like Perrier and making like a sparkling lemonade and and some stevia drops. So I started making that and I added his electrolyte lemon electrolyte powder to that because I knew that my diet was getting kind of streamlined and I didn't want to have a potassium problem again.
Right.
So started doing that and that changed everything. I had no idea, man. When I started doing that, all the carb cravings just were gone. Like it's crazy. Some kind of switch flipped to me, but when I tell you, I was the most addicted person to sugar I've ever met in my life, and I could care two sticks less right. And I mean, it has no hold on me whatsoever. You could eat brownies and drink a case of Coke in front of me and make junk food and eat pizza, and I do not care. It does not register with me anymore. It's
That's
just,
awesome.
yeah, it's amazing. It truly is a miracle. I mean, I can't even believe it. I wake up every day and go, how did that happen? You know, I never thought I was going to get over it, you know?
It's almost like sugar, and it should be classified as a some sort of recreational drug or something.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I mean, my family, my sister is overweight. My mom's overweight. My brothers were all overweight. My brother Ty passed away. It wasn't totally his fault, but if he would have been healthier, I think he would have survived it. But he passed away at 38, and so the heart failed him. My dad fought diabetes. You know, It's just runs through my family, and all it is that damn sugar. It's just the sugar and processed carbohydrates and the high palatable garbage that, I always say, this world we live in, you know, powers that be, they sell the bullets and the band-aids. They sell you the sugar and get you hooked on it, and then they sell you the drugs and they rent you some life, and none of them want you healthy. None of them want to tell you the truth. And then you start getting healthy and they say, oh, that's bad for red meat. You're gonna get cancer. You're gonna have heart disease. And I started telling people, you know, hey, all we need to know when we're weighing the reality of this is that the number one killer of cardiologists is heart disease. You know, like, why are we gonna listen to those people?
Right.
It's crazy. I And so, yeah, I've been on the fence a long time about doing a channel, and it's just, I was going to wait till I got down to my goal weight because, look, and I fully understand nobody wants to listen to a fat guy tell them what to eat, to get
Right.
healthy. But yeah, got plenty of work to do, and I don't expect anybody to take my word for it.
But
But
you've had incredible success up to this point, right?
it saved my life, man. I'm not even kidding. I was, one foot in the grave. I mean, I was sitting here praying to just weigh 500 pounds and to wake up in the morning. I mean, it brought me back from death. I mean, it really did. And now, not only that, but I can make plans for the future. I didn't have that. I didn't have a future before, you know?
That's awesome, man. That is really awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it is because, I mean, I've been fighting this as long as I've been alive. I've been trying to beat this thing and I've tried everything. I mean, I lost 300 pounds more than twice in my leg before, and I've lost 200 pounds more than 4 times. It was all by starvation. I mean, one time I only ate twice a week, and it was 1,000 calories or less each time I ate. I did that for 17 months and starved. And all that happened was I got sick. I got skinnier, but I looked like death warmed over. I got super weak. The only thing I've ever had physically going for me was that carrying around this body, I was, unusually strong. When I was starving to death, I lost all that. I was eating muscle. I was eating white tissue. I blew out my knee during that time. I had to have knee surgery. I tore my rotator cuff. My eyesight was going bad. I was getting tunnel vision and get dizzy all the time. I still didn't have energy. I still didn't feel good. And I was suicidally depressed and crippling anxiety. I had no idea that diet was so important to the mental aspect of it. I mean, I don't have a drop of depression or anxiety, not one. And it's
That's
incredible.
amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, not to get grim, but I mean, there's a couple of days that it's amazing I'm still here. It got so bad. Yeah. Now I don't even think about it. It's not there at all, and it's
Yeah,
great.
I always tell myself, guys like you and Bill, ladies that are in your situation, I really think that you guys are some of the toughest people on the planet. I mean, not only physically, because you're carrying around the weight, but mentally, because of all the things that you've experienced and challenges that most people will never ever encounter. Like you were talking about, your both feet couldn't fit on a scale. I mean, I couldn't imagine, being in that position mentally and having to deal with that on a daily basis. And to hear you say that ribeyes have effectively got rid of, any feelings of depression and things like that. I mean, it's just amazing. It's incredible.
Oh, it is. I mean, I really appreciate saying that, but honestly, that was a fight I had mentally, right? That whole time for 2 decades that I was failing over and over and over again, right? It was getting to the point where I was like, all right, there's something wrong with me. I'm not disciplined enough. I'm not mentally strong enough. I'm not, you know, and other people are stronger. Other people, the skinnier people, the healthier people, the people that aren't in my situation, they must be doing better. They must have more resolve. They must have more, you know, just discipline. And then my, it kind of started changing when I started studying. Well, when I started reading Gary Taub's book, The Case Against Sugar, and I started realizing that I've been lied to, then yeah, I started going, I'm not trying to puff myself up here at all, but I was sitting here thinking, you know, I know a lot of skinny people that have never stopped eating for 17 months. So I must have some discipline. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And, these people, I don't know that they put as much effort into working all day long as I do just to get to the shower. You know what I mean?
Right. Hmm.
So I started thinking, it freed me up to stop blaming everything on myself. Not, I got plenty of hand to play in my position. I did a lot of things wrong. I should have woke up earlier. I should have taken my own health in my own hands and stopped trying to delegate it to so-called professionals. I should have stopped
Right.
listening, to all these people. I should have done that way sooner. And that's all on me for sure. But I wasn't lazy. I mean, I was 600 pounds and I was working 55, 60 hours a week. I was climbing ladders. I was carrying 150-pound rolls of wire. I have a hernia right now because I flipped over an 1,100-pound spool of wire and gave myself a hernia. I wasn't lazy,
Wow.
I was working. I was
That's like
always
the
working.
incredible Hulk.
Well, kind of, it wasn't like I lifted 1,100. I just tipped it up and I was out of shape because I'd been in the office. It was kind of
Right.
funny. Got delivered and the new shop kid was down there and I thought he was being a wimp. And so I said, oh, let me show you how to do this. And then I got down there and I was like, oh, that roll of wire is bigger than I thought it was, but I couldn't look bad to my friend. So I flipped it up so that I could roll it and I got it right about here. It was about 6.5 foot tall. And the shipping label said right on it, it was like 1,146 pounds. And I got it up and I flipped it up. But just as I was in a bad spot, I just felt everything right down the middle of this tear. And
Oh man.
I flipped it up, turned white, started sweat, wanted to throw up. And then I told him, that's how you do it. And then I went up to my office and cried a little.
Ah, that's a great story. Not really for the injury, but
Right.
yeah.
Well, I'm very excited though, because I haven't been able to get that fixed either because I've been so big. When I get all the rest of this weight off and I go get the skin surgery, I'm gonna have that fixed finally. And that's gonna be
Right.
a huge blessing.
Well, that'd be a great day for sure.
But no, just to your point, I stopped, I stopped listening to all that noise, and listen to the doctors tell you, well, you must have, you must be mentally addicted to food, and all these, things. And maybe that's out there. I don't know. But I'll tell you this, when I didn't address any of the mental aspect as far as, going to therapists or anything. I didn't meditate or anything like that. I ate the proper human diet and everything else fell in line. It just went away, and I think, I do think there's a big aspect to the mental thing, but for me, it's about getting educated, knowing that they're lying to you, waking up, and then knowing that stop blaming yourself, stop worrying about what you did yesterday, stop thinking that just because, there's a reason I failed all those other guys. It's because they were just treating a symptom. The obesity is just a symptom. It's not the disease. That's why I called my channel the Carnivore Cure, is because I'm cured. I'm getting cured. Before I was just fighting multiple symptoms. I mean, to me, it's like, hey, the roof's leaking and there's water building up in here. So are we going to patch the roof, or are we just going to drill a drain in the floor?
Right.
Right. Yeah, fix the roof. Stop draining the water out. And, we ain't supposed to have water running in here. Fix the roof.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And y- all they wanted to do was, hey, they gave everything a name. Oh, you got, lymphedema, you got this, you got that. And they wanted to treat all these things because it's a gold mine for them. But all I had to do was eat right. And sure enough, it was butter. It was ribeyes. It was animal fat. It was salt. Everything they told me not to touch for 20 some years. Don't touch that. It'll kill you. And then I go in, I'm 225 pounds lighter. I'm walking. My oxygen saturation was in the 80s since I was 18. It's 96% now on no oxygen. I feel
Awesome.
amazing. Yeah. And I go in and I say, hey, I did this. I'm on carnivore. I'm eating 2 pounds of red meat every day. And I'm, staring at it sticks of butter. And they go, oh, we're worried about your diet. We're worried about your health. And I'm like, well, that's convenient.
Yeah. Right.
Where the hell were you the last 20 years?
Right. For sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
that's frustrating.
it is. And that's why I'm on here. I'm like, this is going to help me document the rest. I mean, I'll make anybody $1,000 bet right now that I don't go off the rails. People say this is constrictive and, or too constricting and not sustainable. And, you're restricting yourself from too much stuff. I was in the depths of hell. I don't care if I ever see another soda again or another piece of bread again or a piece of candy. I don't give a darn.
Right.
you know, Nothing. I got my life back, and I feel like a superhuman. I can't even describe it to somebody that hasn't been where I was and where I am now. But I feel so much better. I have so much more energy. I sleep good. I wake up good. I'm mentally so much more focused and able to multitask. And I lost, I couldn't hardly speak after that thing happened where my oxygen got so low. I got all my word recall back. I can speak, I can talk, my mind works fast now,
Right.
it's incredible. Yeah. So I want everybody to see it. And I'm praying that in another 12 months, I'll have lost 400 pounds or a little more and can get some skin surgery maybe in 18 months or something. And that people see it and they can see all these videos along the way. And, I got no dog in this fight as far as I'm not selling nothing. I'm not here to sell you anything to change your mind and change your politics or nothing. I'm just telling you, this is the truth. And I want everybody to know the truth because I think that's the main problem is there's so much nonsense out there. And there's, you know, everything's buried in the minutia of all the bull crap that you can't find it, and you shouldn't have to. I mean, it took me years of studying and getting to this point just to undo all the lies that I've been told for the last 20 years about what's healthy and what's right and what's going to fix me. You know what I mean? I had to completely unwire 'em.
Right. Yeah, for sure. It's almost like it's some sort of a sick twisted test of society to see who are the people that are going to fall for this lie and who isn't.
Right?
I mean, it's just so, it still blows me away that if you shop from this section of the store instead of this section of the store, it's a profound difference in your health, right? Like it
Yep.
just,
And not just your health, but your quality of life, your future, your just everything has changed. I can't, I can't tell you. I mean, I was going from praying that I could get to the bathroom, scheduling that I could get a shower. I'd have to, if I needed something out of the kitchen, I had to time it, you know, to go from that and just not being able to make it plans for more than a few days at a time because you didn't even know what was going to happen. To go from that just to knowing now that, I don't, if I die tomorrow, fine, but my quality of life up to this point has been so much better than it ever has been. You know what I mean? And that just from not found, everybody says it's just so restrictive. The 640,000 hyper palatable processed foods that are in the grocery, they weren't even around 100 years ago. I mean, I tell people, if they came out with 640,000 flavors of meth, would you tell yourself that being it's too restrictive to not be able to partake in the 640,000 flavors of meth or heroin? It's
yep,
killing you. It's killing you. It's robbing you of your life and your potential and your dreams and your future. It's killing you. Just, you know, just simplify it, you know, and get your life back. Just get your health, take control of your health, and just,
absolutely.
if they could feel how good this feels and how much of an absolute life change it is, they would absolutely understand that there's not really 640,000 different choices. They're all sugars. They're all poison. They're all rat poison. They're all garbage. It's not a choice.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the people that say that it's too restrictive, uh, subconsciously they're an addict and they just haven't come to terms with it yet. You know?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I
So
mean,
I think it's the most liberating way to eat that there ever was. I mean, I'm eating like a king. You know, to eat beef every single day
yeah,
is like this is amazing. Because
it
before
is.
I was eating trash and garbage and sugar and piling it in and spending at least 3 times the amount of money than what I'm spending now, and I'm eating like a king now.
Absolutely. People ask me that too. They're like, "Oh, I can't afford to eat it." I was sitting here going, "Look, first of all, it is cheaper when you cut out all the stuff. Like, sure, maybe if you go meal to meal or something, but I don't, you know, I don't go to the gas station and get snacks and sodas anymore. I don't stop at the coffee hut in the morning and get
Right.
$6 lattes. I don't, I don't break the chairs anymore that I'm sitting in and have to replace them after 4 weeks.
Right.
I don't miss work. In fact, I could put more work in. I make more money because I'm able to be more productive and more just better at my job. I'm able to capitalize on ways to make money and to support myself and to do those things that I couldn't do before. I was missing out on opportunities. I make exponentially more money now, uh, you know, not spending the money and also more opportunities to make money now than I ever did before. And I'm sure that I have 160,000 subscribers that ain't coming from YouTube. But we're just saying that, I work more. I have more hours to put into things in the day, and I love to work. That's my hobby in life, is the things that I do. And so it's not more expensive. You can't afford not to do it, honestly.
For sure. Yeah, one of the videos that I made was about how meat gave me my time back, and I've just started adding everything up. There's certain things that I intentionally left out because some people might spend a little bit more time on that, maybe not. But it came out to literally, and I was being conservative, 36 40-hour weeks a year
Wow.
of extra time. You go back and watch that video, and I lay it all out, and that doesn't even include like all I have is a cutting board, a fork, and a knife, and a
Right.
grill. That's all I
Right.
have to clean as far as dishes. I'm done in 30 seconds. Whereas most
Exactly.
people have to clean all these dishes and all this stuff from all these recipes and whatnot. And I didn't even factor that in.
I know. Yep. It's so true. It is so true. Like I know, first of all, the whole the whole regimen, and I know this is something that people think that they're gonna miss or they don't want to give up in the social aspect of food and cooking and that for a lot of people's hobby. And you can still kind of do that in carnivore. But for me, that whole part of eating has just gone away. It's just completely gone. And I don't miss it one bit at all. It's giving me so much time back. It's ridiculous. It's so simple. I don't have to think about what I'm eating. My grocery order from Costco once a week is the exact same every single time. I don't have to do any thinking. I know exactly what I'm getting. You know, I know exactly I'm going to cook one of about maybe, I don't know, 4 meals every day. It's either going to be chuck roast, pot roast I'm gonna make that's just kettle and fire bone broth, ghee, and chuck roast with some salt. It's either gonna be that, or it's gonna be steak and eggs, or it's gonna be bacon and eggs. And that's it. But
Nice.
every time I do it, it tastes great. Every time. I don't never like it. And then it makes me go back to when I didn't have any restrictions and I could eat whatever I wanted. And you know what would happen to me every time? I would go to town or go to a restaurant or whatever, and I go, what do we want to eat today? What are we hungry for? And nothing sounded good ever.
Right.
I had everything I could choose from, and nothing sounded good. And I would be like, oh, and honestly, it's because I think my body knew. I think it's something like, when you do drugs or something, I never have, but I guess when you do it the first time, it's really good. And then later you're always chasing that high or something. I feel like that's what it's like when when you take the rails off and you're not dieting or something and you can have everything, it all just gets boring and you're just getting sicker and sicker and the food's not going to make you feel good. You're going to be tired. You're going to be on that insulin roller coaster. So whatever that endorphin fixes from it, you're chasing it, but it's just not there anymore. And so none of that stuff was satisfying. And I could have anything, and pizza didn't taste like I remembered it tasting in my mind. It wasn't satisfying like I remembered it being. Junk food, nothing was satisfying. It's almost just like the memory, and you're chasing the high of it all or something. I don't know,
Right. Mm.
but it's so nice that that's gone. I don't
Yeah.
have to worry about
Sure.
it. Now I just go, am I hungry? And I think about would a steak taste good right now? And if the answer is the steak would taste good, then I'm hungry. If the answer is I could go without, then I'm not hungry. That's basically as simple as it is. And every time I think about it, it goes, yeah, no, it tastes good. Then I go eat it, tastes good every time. I think with it.
Right.
And I feel great. And it's just that simple. And I don't have to count you know how long I ran around with a stupid scale measuring food? Like, I asked my doctor, I'm like, how did our ancestors not go extinct with scale? You know?
Right.
Like, it's so stupid. Now I run around with the scale and I'm counting macros and I'm weighing calories and all this stupid stuff just so that I can be immensely hungry. And you know what's wrong with that too? On top of everything else, now you're hyper focused on food all the time. You just have to think about it. You have to think about the meals. You have to think about the macros. You have to feel guilty. It's always in your head. I don't think about it at all. In fact, and this is why I love talking to people like you and doing these videos and trying to help people because it keeps you so laser focused on the truth and meaning in what you're doing, that it
For
just
sure.
keeps you so much more accountable and just built up to do it,
Hmm.
that, you know, you just don't let anything else in, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, you don't have to do that. I eat when I'm hungry. I stop when I'm full. Well, let me tell you how amazing it is when I first experienced leptin control for the first time. That blew my mind. I never had leptin control in my life, and I didn't know that, you know? And all of a sudden, to be full and satiated without having a full stomach was like an out of body experience. You know what I mean? And there's
Right.
a reason for it. There's a reason for it. You have two types of appetite control in your body. You have leptin, and then you have the stretch markers on the stomach. Well, when you're insulin resistance and you have prevalence of insulin in your system, it's a super dominant hormone. and it stops your leptin sensitivity. So now you have to eat until you hit the stretch markers on your stomach to get your brain to shut off and tell you to stop eating, you know?
Hmm.
And it's like, why doesn't anybody? That's so simple to understand. Why aren't my doctors telling me this? Why did I have to read it and go find it for myself, you know? And yet I start, I keep my insulin levels low, and then lo and behold, my depression goes away, my anxiety, cortisol drops, and I get leptin sensitivity back. I was that guy when people would be like, "Oh, I ate 2 slices of pizza, and if I eat more, I'm gonna be sick." And I'm like, "What planet are you from?"
Right. Yeah, I can eat a whole pizza.
I can't eat 2 pizzas. And you're telling me you're gonna get sick if you eat 2 slices? And now I know. I've had, many, many times for whatever reason, I eat, sometimes I can eat 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds of meat. Other times I eat 3/4 of a pound of meat and I'm like, I'm done. And
Mhm.
it's just something clicks. And I'm like, clearly this is how we're supposed to function. And this is always an argument that I'd have with the calories in, calorie out, thermodynamic hypothesis guys about calories.
Mhm.
It's one hand they'll say, go get your TDD or TDEE calculator and figure out your macros, and your calories and all this nonsense. And then eat 500 calories after that, under that. Because all that matters is calories in, calories out. And then but in the same breath, they go, don't undereat, because if you do, your metabolism will slow down and you won't burn weight. And I'm like, so what's happening? What's happening there when all of a sudden my body determines how many calories I can burn? Did my brain stop working? Did my lungs stop working? Did my heart stop working? Something has less of a load demand. I'm an electrician. I deal in the world of supply and demand and load calculations, right?
Right.
I'm like, so if all of a sudden the consumption has changed, the load must have shifted, or your body can self-regulate and change its fuel mileage. It can change its consumption.
Yep.
And if your body can self-regulate and can change its consumption, then the calorie hypothesis is absolute bull crap.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because it's not a constant. So,
Well, they measure it by burning the stuff. Our
right.
bodies don't, we don't combust things inside of us. So
No,
obviously things work differently.
absolutely. But if your body can change your fuel efficiency, right? If you can need more calories one day or less the other day, and your heart doesn't stop beating and your lungs don't stop breathing, then all your systems are still functioning, yet it can change your efficiency of fuel
Mhm.
consumption. And if your efficiency of fuel consumption can change, then clearly your body can self-regulate on its own, and your body will, if you get healthy, your body will go, you know what, we don't need more, and we're just going to start burning this off, and we're going to ramp up your metabolism. You're going to feel good. Your metabolism, your metabolic system is going to be good. We're going to burn this off, and you're going to be healthy. And that's the body is way smarter than any of these doctors ever wished they were. You know what I mean?
Thank God.
Yeah. Thank God.
We don't have to tell it to do anything. It just
No,
does
we
it.
don't.
Give it the right fuel and hands
Yeah.
off, and it's good to go.
Yeah. Give it the fuel we've been eating for like millions of years.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's shift gears here real quick.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so let's find out what Todd likes in his free time. Do you have any hobbies
Right
besides
now,
entering and exiting the matrix?
I put that up there because I really do feel like we got to unplug from the propaganda. You know what I mean?
Right.
We all got to wake up and realize that the system is not working on our behalf. You know what I mean? Like
For sure.
we gotta take our own health and our own stance in life, and be our own advocate in
Yeah.
every aspect, you know? But yeah, no, I love, I am a workaholic. I love work. I work a lot with my brother, and we do, you know, I love getting new jobs and, kind of growing our business, but also I have a seasonal, fireworks business. I sell fireworks in, 4th of July and New Year's. We put on a big show for the whole, town that I'm in, and we get hundreds and hundreds of people come out, put on a huge show,
Cool.
and make it. We took a 500-gallon smoker and made it a big smoker barbecue, so we can put 20 briskets on there, and pork
Wow.
shoulders, and just we feed the whole town. They come out and see our show, and it's a lot of fun. And then right now I've I'm kind of pouring myself into this channel and stuff because I really enjoy talking to people. And I'm getting a lot of emails and comments now where I'm able to help people that were stuck, that are stuck, that were where I was, a year ago, 2 years ago. And man, that has more meaning to it right now in my life than anything I ever done before. And then,
That's awesome. You're
yeah,
going to get a lot more of it. I predict you're going to have a lot more in the future because, like I said, you're one of the strongest people that I've ever met, and the experiences that you've gone through, um, it speaks much louder than what I could ever do. And I appreciate that you started your channel, and you're going to be able to help thousands and thousands of people, no doubt for sure.
well, I really do appreciate that. I think, I, the Bible talks about that. Everybody's 100% is equal. It's all about people's walk and their experience with everything, and so I believe that we're all doing the best we can, really. And it's really just about getting the truth out there. But I can tell you, when I saw Carrie's channel and I saw Bill, like, man, that hit so close to home. It was just, that was what really got me off the fence because one of my biggest regrets here is that I don't have more pictures because I have avoided pictures my whole life. I hated looking. I hated I mean, I would. My sister-in-law, my sister, my mom, they're always trying to take pictures and I would. I mean, I'd get out of there, tell them no flat out. I'd find pictures and throw them away.
Right.
I hate them just because it was, the person that I am in pictures is not the person that I am in my head,
For
and
sure.
so
I can definitely relate to that.
yeah, and there's this conflict there. That's not me. And it hurt to see it, it was uncomfortable. And so I wish I would have taken more pictures when I was at my worst. I only have a few of them. Partially, it's because I couldn't even take a picture. I couldn't stand up to get in front of a mirror to take a picture of. That's why one with my green shirt that was close to my heaviest, but I could only take that picture. And actually, I took that picture to send it to my sister because she wanted to know how I was doing. I took that picture to tell her, "Look, I'm looking better."
Nice.
But yeah, but when I saw Bill, that hit so close to home because man, I was exactly in that spot, and I saw him, and he's older than me, and I was just like, I do not want this guy to relapse one more time because I don't know how many more chances it's going to get at this. But he needs to know because I know what it's like to be there, and I know that you get in your own head about all the other things that failed, and you don't even want to believe that there is an answer anymore because you got your hopes up, you start feeling foolish and you don't you want to tell anybody you're doing something different because you're so tired of failing in front of everybody and letting everybody down. And I know what that's like. And I really just wanted him to know, throw all that other stuff away. This is not that. Those were all different. And I know people say that, but this isn't a sales pitch. It's not it's not some sort of life coach thing. Just trying to pump you up. It's absolutely real. This is absolutely the answer. And this is nothing like you've done before. And if you do have to separate it from, there's still a bunch of noise online about, liberal keto and doing all that stuff, all the keto breads and keto fat bombs and all that stuff. Stay away from that and just do a very, very strict elimination diet. Get down to the absolute brass tacks of it. And, if you need to think about it, think when you get to your goal weight that you can start slowly adding in some things and broaden it if that helps you. But if you just get it right and and you get through it, it gets easier. It really, really gets easier. You really get healthier. Your body feels better. Your brain starts functioning better. And this is the answer. I know without a shadow of a doubt, out of all the diets, even when I was, I got down when I was 24 years old, I got down to 337. It was the lowest I've ever seen the scale when I was an adult. And the whole time I knew it was just a matter of time before it all came back on. I knew that I hadn't fixed anything. I was just starving and it wasn't sustainable. And sure enough, I got married. My wife started cooking the standard American diet. She was cooking, steamed vegetables and rice and all of these home grade stuff that's supposed to be so good for you. Man, when I tell you that weight came back on, it was like, I didn't exactly time it was like 9 or 10, it was under a year. I gained back all the weight plus like 60 pounds. And I was also very much more sick. I was way sicker than I was the first time. It was incredible. And I knew the whole time, every time I'd lost any significant amount of weight before, I knew it was just a matter of time before it came back on. And this time I have no doubt in my mind because I feel so good and I'm so free from the cravings that this thing's whooped. It's just a matter of time. And
Yeah,
I want Bill to get to that point. I really want him to see him get over that, to get that breakthrough.
for sure. Yeah, I think he's probably at that point now, where he's yeah, getting to the point where he's cruising, and
Yeah.
yeah, I never thought, obviously I didn't struggle with weight as much as you have or Bill has, but I struggled with it my entire life. You lose 30 pounds, you gain it back, lose 40 pounds, you gain it back, and then you add 20 more pounds and just back and forth all the time, and just this struggle, and this is the only way of eating I've ever done that I've been able to stave off the sugar, stave off all the garbage, and be completely happy and full and satisfied, and not have any desire whatsoever to even go back to eating that way. I mean, it's so profound, and it's hard to explain that to somebody that hasn't experienced it.
Yeah. I mean, and once just, and I know exactly what you're saying. It's like there's a switch inside of you that just flips and I mean, don't you feel kind of the same thing? All those other diets, you knew that you weren't sure that this was really the answer and you didn't know how long you could keep it up and you're always worried about falling off and it was always in your head. And now I don't even think about it. Like it is such a done deal and it is so profoundly, you know, life changing that I don't wake up and even worry about it. Before I don't, when you're on a diet, you used to wake up and it was first thing in your head in the morning. It was the first thing that you were worrying about. It was just this weight on your back all the time. Don't screw up. Don't screw up. Don't screw up. Don't screw up.
Yep.
Now it's not a thought. I wake up and all my mind is full of what I'm going to do today. How, the day, just the hope for every day is so much better. I wake up in the morning and I'm excited for the day. I'm excited about what I'm going to do today, how productive I'm going to be today. I'm going to feel better today than I did yesterday. I'm going to lose a little more weight today than I did yesterday. I'm going to get stronger today than I was yesterday. I'm going to be healthier and more things are going to heal today than yesterday. I look forward to it now and I cannot tell you how surreal that is from where I was just last September. It's insane.
Nice. That's awesome. So if somebody was in a similar position as you, and I know we touched on some of this, so we'll try to maybe summarize a little bit. And if somebody's in a similar position as you, or where you were, let's say with depression or their weight or whatever, and they're considering eating this way and this carnivore lifestyle, what would be your top advice for that person?
I would say stop beating yourself up. Sure you're not, we're all perfectly imperfect human beings. We all are flawed, but leave that crap behind you in the past where it belongs. Stop beating yourself up. It's not going to do any good. And you had a hand to play in it for sure, but most of it you've been lied to. You've been fed a line of garbage and it's an incredibly complex and nuanced issue that's out there because there's so much bad information and it's been so politicized. So don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up. You gotta change your mind there. And then you gotta start today. Don't think you need to, don't say I'm going to start a week from now. I need to go have, my 5 favorite fast food places or restaurants, go eat at it before I do this. Cause it'll be the last time. Like that's always going to be there. Just absolutely drop it. Start today. And then don't don't think that, don't have it in your head that this is going to be done, but tomorrow or next week or 8 months from now or whatever. I'll just enjoy feeling better and get healthier every day. It's a new way of life. So just enjoy all the health benefits that come from it and all the, you know, just feeling good, getting stronger. that come every day with it. And then, just know that one big thing that I realized that really changed a lot for me was I used to think that I was avoiding the hard things and the struggle by not choosing to be disciplined about what I ate. And now I realize that when I was eating bad in that 1 hour window of time every day, I was actually choosing to struggle the 23, other 23 hours out of the day. I was actually making my life worse, my situation worse every time. So we tend to think that we're going to avoid the struggle, but we're actually choosing the way bigger struggle by eating bad. And and don't listen to anybody tell you that this is not sustainable. Don't listen to anybody tell you that this is just a gimmick diet. Just latch onto it. Don't pour yourself into it. Get into the keto community so you understand what it's really about. And then just keep your conscious mind on it every day and just be active into it every day. And that'll keep you accountable. It'll keep you on track.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great advice. I love that the way of looking at that in terms of, you're not making a choice have something yummy, for an hour. You're actually making a choice to feel terrible for the other 23 hours of the day. That's pretty incredible insight. I love that.
Well, and it's very real, because, that was, that was so prevalent because I would eat something and I'd have this good 30 minutes or whatever, a break. But now I wasn't sure that I could get to the bathroom. I wasn't sure I was going to wake up tomorrow. I wasn't sure if I could get out of this chair ever again. I wasn't sure if I was going to get to go to town or drive a car again or any of that stuff. And all because of those little half-hour instances where I thought I was avoiding the struggle. But in reality, you have to choose your struggle, because if you don't, it's going to choose you, and it's way worse.
So true. So true. So Todd, tell us where we can find you on social media.
So I'm on pretty much all of them except Snapchat, I guess, but I'm on Rumble. Everything is at the Carnivore Cure. So that's, the Carnivore Cure. And on X, formerly known as Twitter, Carnivore Cure. Carnivore.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll definitely link all those accounts in the description below the video for sure.
Okay,
So
yeah,
in order to find
that's
you.
that's Rumble, Instagram, and YouTube. That it's the Carnivore Cure, and then Twitter is Carnivore.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we're gonna have to invite you on the keto cookout on Tuesdays. This week is the full lineup, but the week after we cut it up on there. So we're
Yeah,
definitely gonna have to get you on there. Pop in, pop out at the cookout, and hang with us for a little bit, and cut it up, and have some fun.
yeah, I've truly enjoyed meeting everybody. It's been amazing, and it's crazy how like-minded, or I don't know, just everybody is so familiar to me.
Right? Yeah, it's like Carrie says, everybody has the carnivore glow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, awesome, Todd. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me and you know uh, spread your knowledge out there to as many people as possible. And I know that you're undoubtedly going to help tens of thousands of people, if not more. And you're just getting started, and I appreciate that you came on my channel and did an interview here, and we spent this time together. I'm
Oh,
truly
Adam,
honored.
I really appreciate you helping me kind of get out there, since I didn't know where to start at all with this. This is all very new to me, but I really appreciate it. And yeah, I truly pray that I can, I'm happy to help anybody any way I can. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Cool. Well, I really, you're most welcome anytime to come back. And, we should probably schedule some live streams here and there to get on and just chop it up with everybody else on the internet and see what happens.
Yeah, sounds like a great time. I'm in a hurry for sure. So
Awesome. All right, Todd. We'll talk to you soon.
yeah, have a great night. See you.
You too. Bye. Thanks, Todd, for sharing your empowering journey with us. If you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to the Carnivore Cure, where you'll find some really great content. We'd love to hear from you in the comments section about your own experiences with the carnivore diet. Tell us about the positive transformations and benefits you've encountered, and don't hesitate to share this video with anyone who might find Todd's carnivore journey both inspiring and helpful. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Your support truly means a lot to me. Thank you again. Stay amazing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.